Next up is important. Important is added after the parameter and the value, or the property and the value of a CSS whatever. It can be on literally anything, and it will override everything else. And so this is to just go around the order of operations that CSS has, and it is also a part of the paradigms that we have to deal with when we are formatting or structuring our CSS file. So, as we learned before in the first video with the selectors video, we learned that tag, the order of operation, it goes tag, CS, or the class, the tag, or the attributes, and the ID. Well, at any point along that chain, we can override a specific one, and so any other properties that are defined later in the order of operations are overwritten. So this can cause some problems if you have an important in there that you forgot about and you're struggling to work with a 2,000 line CSS file and you're trying to deal with all of these different things, and you've got one important in there and it's causing weird problems and you're trying to deal with it. So generally, either there are two kind of different perspectives. Either use important all over the place, or you don't use it all over the place. So using it everywhere will mean that, and it's all localized to that one specific thing. And that can be a little bit difficult to manage, and also kind of verbose, because now every single thing is independent. Or you don't use it at all, and you try to have your classes be as generic as possible, and you choose what you want. And so, say we have a title, and we have the class is called title, and we want that to be a specific font and color and size. And so we apply all that onto there. And then we could put an important on there, and then we have to, when we put that CSS in, it will override everything else. If we put important on, if we put important on everything, then we deal with the same problem again with the chaining. And so it goes back to the original problem. And so generally, try to avoid using important unless it's in very specific situations. That is my recommendation. Or you just don't use it at all and you use something like Svelte, which has a little bit better scoping of CSS. It's really it's not that complicated, but getting into different paradigms, it's kind of difficult to understand without doing a lot of it. So important can be applied on anything, and generally it overwrites whatever. So style library.css, which is right here, is a sheet full of good styles, but you don't like how it's turning the color of H1 to yellow. All right, great. Well, you could just get rid of that. You could also add another H1 right here that changes the color. And then we do important on here. You could do that. And so that gets rid of the H1. But another thing that you could do, I'm going to get rid of that important, is change the order in which everything is imported. So now we don't need the important on here because this specific thing happens after this file. So this is saying, hey, change the color to yellow in this file, and then we move into this file, and then it says, hey, change the color to FFF. Okay, and that's hexadecimal. So sometimes you can just go away or do with not using the important value, and it's easier to deal with. However, if you don't want to deal with the order of operations important, it's a weird paradigm that you have to deal with at some point. And working with things like Bootstrap and Tailwind and various other quasi frameworks helps you interact with the important value. All right, now we're just reviewing. Here's what all of these things mean. Fantastic. Cool.